Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video on the Tom Dark channel. I'm your host, Tom Dark, and today we're going to be taking a little break from being a kind, nice, gentle soul to everyone on the channel. We're gonna do a little bit of a detour today, away from all of the AIDS and madness of the YouTube and TikTok and Twitter world, to just talk about a story, something personal that happened to me that I think is pretty funny, pretty entertaining. You guys really liked the last few story times I did. They got absolutely fisted in likes and views. They're actually some of the better performing videos on my channel, which I did not expect, so thank you for that. And now I figure is a good opportunity, while the story itself is still pretty fresh in my mind, and I think the comedic value is still there, right? It's gonna make you cream and spurg all over the place. I figure it's a good time to talk about one thing that happened when I was in California. It's actually been a month to the day since I've done one of these videos, and judging by some of the comments from the people out there, the citizens of Tom Dark Town are absolutely itching for another story time video. You guys want it real bad. But before I go any further, let's just make sure that the vibe is properly set for the video. There we go. Be sure to grab a coffee or a Monster and a snack so you don't die. Dehydration, because you're laughing so much. My throat is still a little fucked from my weekend activities that I talked about in my last rant, whatever video, so keep that in mind. If my voice sounds a little off, a little more nasally than usual, if sometimes I have a bit of a voice crack here and there, that's why. But anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, as many of you know who follow me on Twitter or look at the community tab on this channel, I was in Los Angeles this last weekend for vidcon. It wasn't technically vidcon, actually, because the convention center itself was closed. The official event had been canceled, which is a result of the current cringe state of the world. So, it wasn't like an official vidcon. We couldn't go there and meet like Tana Mojo and the odd ones out, but that was honestly fine because I think it just kind of made everyone that did go, from my sort of side of the internet, realize that the convention itself kind of sucks anyway, so we all just wanted to go hang out with each other in person for a while rather than have anything to do with the convention itself, and we did, and it was a lot of fun. It was the best weekend in super recent memory I've had. The travel days definitely kind of sucked, but, the time I spent meeting up with all these guys that I've been watching online and talking to over the internet for the last few years online was definitely a good time. And I feel like not even like that much like happened. Like we didn't go to any specific locations. We just kind of went to each other's Airbnbs and hung out and had little parties, I guess. But it was really good shit. It was awesome. The first day of the trip, which was last Thursday, was basically all traveling, as I had to go from the East Coast all the way to the West. So basically I had to travel to the airport, which wasn't that long, but then I had to wait for my flight. The flight was a decent amount of time. It was like 6 hours, 6.5, something like that. Then I had to go from LAX, which is the airport in Los Angeles, to the Airbnb I was staying at in Anaheim. And traffic there is fucking AIDS, so that took I think an hour and a half or something like that. The only thing that really happened the day I got there was that I got some McDonald's with Augie and Nick. Augie RFC and Nicholas Diorio, that is. And we had a fun little time. It was good to see how large and certainly in charge Nick Diorio was. Boogie mode. Believe it or not, out of the three of us, he was the only one that didn't get any food from McDonald's at 1 in the morning. It was just me and Augie. Surprising, I know. It's quite out of character, quite shocking. That night, we went back to my Airbnb and we hung out for a little, and then they went home and I went to bed. The next day, I got to have breakfast with everyone who was there, except for Augie and Nick. They didn't go. I don't know why. We went to a pancake house. I got to meet the gamer from Mars and Technicals and Kino Corner, Glenk, all those guys. Really good shit. And then we discussed what we were going to do for the day, and all of them suggested downtown Disney. I thought that it sounded like a decent idea, and as such, we all got into Ubers because no one really had cars out there, so there was no way we could get to downtown Disney without an Uber, which is basically like a shopping plaza outside of Disneyland's hotel. They have like a Lego store and that kind of thing, which as soon as I got there, I was fucking coming to, all over the sidewalk in front of a whole family. After walking around a bit, got to meet up with Wavy Web Surf for the first time, which was pretty nice. And Nick was there as well. I believe they were eating, coincidentally, Mexican food. Nick was like, I ate 12 burritos, and I was like, yeah, I can tell. And so So Nick and Wavy came out of the restaurant, and I was talking to Nick, and we were like, where is Augie? Where did he go? All of the other people that were there were like, hey man, I want to meet Augie RFC. I'm a fan of the show. I've been watching his live streams for a little while now. Where could he be? We kind of stood around with our dicks in our hands for a bit, disappointed that we hadn't seen Mr. Augie RFC himself. We thought maybe he was still in his hotel getting ready, but he said he would be on his way at a certain time, so that doesn't really make sense. So Nick decides to check his phone to see that he had gotten some messages from Augie. And the messages were basically Augie being like, hey, I'm kind of in an emergency. He said that he had lost his phone in an Uber, and it was his only way to know where anything was, because, obviously he's never been to LA. He said he has no idea where he is, and he's just fucking lost. And the stakes get a little higher as well, because apparently Augie had 2FA, or two-factor authentication, on for his channel, which means that he needs his phone to get back into his stuff, or else he may be locked out of his accounts. He may have a very hard time getting access to them, which is worrying because it's his job, and, he needs his job to live. Dude doesn't want to go back to working in the pumpkin patch. And so Nick shows me this DM, and at first I kind of thought it was a joke. I wasn't really sure what to make of it. It almost felt like a meme, especially like the first day we're there, like he had to lose his fucking phone. Like, it just doesn't seem like something that would happen. But then Augie starts tweeting out that he lost his phone in an Uber and is saying like he needs to send out a distress signal. A distress signal needs to be sent out to anyone who can help him in Anaheim. And I feel like I'm watching like a 9-year-old tweet out that he's lost in the mall and he needs someone to help find his mom. So I checked my DMs, and I similarly had gotten a fuck ton of messages from him being like, dude, I need help. I think one specific quote he said was, my life is over. My life is over, Tom, and I need some help. I need you to come and save me from this, all right? I need you to come save me from being lost in the fucking mall. And I'm like, all right, Nick, look, I know this is kind of a funny meme. I know it's funny. It's quite humorous, quite keck, quite lol, but I think we need to leave and help Augie. And Nick's like standing next to me, and he's looking at me. He's like, yeah, I mean, maybe. And then he just tweets out a screenshot of the picture of Augie asking, like begging on his hands and knees, please, someone help me. Someone, mommy, please find me. I'm lost in the mall and I need someone to come and save me. This JCPenney is so big, right? So Nick takes a screenshot of this and he just tweets out the picture. Like, no context, no caption, and then just puts his phone back in his pocket. Like, he's not gonna do anything. And I'm like, no, look, yes, this is a good meme, Nick. I appreciate the meme. It does make me keck, it does make me lol quite a bit, but we need to go and help this guy get his phone back, all right? It's like the first day we've been here and he's already shitting his pants. We gotta save him from despair and turmoil, okay? Rescue Princess RFC. She needs us. She needs us right now. So basically, I called a forklift service. They came with, a big one and didn't have like the prongs. I had like a bed on it. And that was just so that we could carry Nick back from the downtown Disney where we were to the parking lot, because there was no way he would be able to walk there alone. So basically, I convinced Nick to come with me to help Augie. We walked out of downtown Disney and into the parking lot. Nick was waddling next to me a little slower with his very penguin-like stature in tow. We got into an Uber, and the Uber took us to Augie's hotel. We get there, and we text Augie. We're like, hey, man, we're here. And he gets outside with just, like a very ashamed, embarrassed look on his face. Like, he looks very... I think sheepish is the word. He looks very embarrassed. And he gets into the Uber with us and is like, okay, we need to go to this location, all right? My mom has tracking on the phone, so she can, text you the directions to get there. We got the Uber driver's docs, and we can see his general location. So he gives me his mom's number, and immediately, I thought we were going to talk about the whole thing we were doing then, like trying to get Augie's phone from this Uber driver out of this Uber, because apparently Augie had basically left his phone in the Uber, gotten out to downtown Disney and been like, I'm fucked. Like, I have no idea where I am. But as soon as his mom started texting me, she was like, calling me handsome and tall. And she was like, wow, you're like 5 inches taller than my son. You tower over him. That's so cool. I really actually love your videos. And I was wondering if you wanted to hang out sometime alone. I could bake you a casserole. So then obviously I decided to send her a picture of my massive dick. Okay, so I was texting his mom and she gave me the address. But for some reason I couldn't put another destination into the Uber, like on my phone, because we had already completed the trip and it just wouldn't let me put it in. And the Uber driver couldn't figure it out either. He was like, oh no, me don't know how to do this. I don't know, maybe you have to call another Uber than me, even though I want the money. And I'm like, all right, Augie, Nick Oreo, let's just get out of this car. All right, we can hang out for a second. We'll call another Uber so we can get to this place and hopefully find Augie's phone, okay? This has already taken long enough. This has already been enough of a story, all right? So we get out of the Uber and we're in the parking lot. And I look to my right and I'm like, wait, is that like is that a Jetta? And then I'm like, wait, but Augie, isn't that your car? Isn't your car right there? Like directly In the parking spot next to the Uber was Augie's car. He took his car from Texas to LA. He had a vehicle waiting right there we could have gotten into, and then I wouldn't be charged like $50 for another Uber trip, which, by the way, I spent like hundreds on during this trip because it was the only way to get around. Already feeling pretty fucking anti-hero about that, but you know what? Whatever. Augie is a small brain and a chimp, and he's also like 5'2", and I tower over him because I am the alpha male. But I was like, all right, you know what? Let's get into Augie's car. Let's go there. I called shotgun, which made Oreo mad, but whatever. I punched in the address that the phone was like, you know, saying that it was at, to maps. I put on my Let's Go playlist with Mudvayne and Get Scared and I Prevail on deck. And we were on our way, all right? We were going to the location, finally. His mom was texting me the status of my dick. His mom was texting me the status of the phone to tell me if it had moved or not, but it was pretty much just staying in the same location, so I was like, all right, thank you for telling me. We followed the directions, and it basically took us to this cul-de-sac in like a decent-sized neighborhood, about a half an hour away from where we were originally at Augie's, you know, hotel. While we were in the car, I believe there was like a Twitter space going on, which if you aren't aware is like a big Twitter Discord call, but it's also kind of a live stream you can like listen into. I believe Smaggledaggle was the one running it. He's like one of the biggest, the most prominent RFC community spurgs who is currently banned from the zoo, unaware of why that is. He says some wacky stuff from time to time for sure, but, you know, kind of an entertaining kid, I guess. Apparently, there were like 500 people watching his Twitter space where he just rambled about bullshit and how there wasn't a stream that weekend on RFC. I don't really know why he had that many. I guess people were that desperate for Nick and Augie content that they were just like, we're going to watch Smaggledaggle today. This is how I'm spending my afternoon. But we talked to Smaggle on the way there, and then we hung up. We got bored with him. Piece of shit. Augie's mom had texted me the model of the car we were looking for, so I got out when we were, you know, at this cul-de-sac. I pointed to it, and then Augie walks over to the car because I think he recognized it as well, because obviously that was the car that he was in when he was taking an Uber. He looks inside the window like a little creeper freak spying on someone's personal items, and he says that he sees his phone back there in the back seat. The car wasn't actually parked in like a driveway. It was kind of parked in the middle of the street in like this parking area. I wasn't completely sure which house we were supposed to go to. We might have had to do a little trial and error, but when I was looking at them, I was like, all right, well, this one house doesn't have a car at it, and that car is, you know, on the street, but it's relatively close to that house, so that's probably it. And Augie is like, all right, are you guys going to come with me to the door? And we're like, no, little queer, go embarrass yourself alone. Go get your phone. Go do the walk of shame, okay? Be sad. Go do the trail of Uber tears. So he walks up to the door. This woman comes out. I assume Augie explained to her what had happened and asked if like whoever drove the Uber was still home. She laughed pretty hysterically and then went inside to get the driver. They were a pretty nice older couple, you know, they seemed to find the humor in the situation, wasn't a huge deal. They came out, unlocked the car, gave him his phone, and, you know, honestly, it was a mission accomplished moment, all right? We were ready to leave. I personally thought it would be funny to see the walk of shame back to the car, you know, like on stream or on video. So I was like, hey Nick, fire up a Twitch stream. Let's see the audience enjoy this moment with us, all right? They deserve to share this excellent, touching moment with us. He tried to start streaming, and he thought he was, I think, but for some reason it didn't actually start up. But as soon as he did think he was streaming and Augie thought he was streaming, Augie called him a very rude and mean homophobic slur. I think he never really went live, but you know, I guess if he had, then that would have been the punishment he got. I then told Augie that Nick was the one who wanted to stream it instead of me being the one who harassed him into doing it. You know, the classic Tom Dark, Turkey Tom move, turning your friends against each other. And I believe the last thing that I said as we were getting into the car to go back to downtown Disney to meet up with everyone else was like, damn, this is a pretty fun story. You know, I think we had a good time. We had a good time experiencing it, living it, discussing it in person. And I was like, I think I'm gonna make a fun story time video out of the entire thing. And so here we are, with me telling you guys the story of what happened that fateful day when this 9-year-old boy was almost stranded in Los Angeles forever. Now for some more funny details that I wasn't actually informed of until later and didn't know about, that I'm going to spill and embarrass people with here. So I was wondering how Augie got back to his hotel from his Uber, right? Like, how did that happen? It was quite a drive. Well, apparently, he had taken the Uber to downtown Disney, but as soon as he got out, he realized he didn't have his phone in his pocket. So he turned around and was like, oh shit, it's still in the car. And so he ran as fast as he could down the street towards this guy's car yelling, Uber, 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 because he didn't know the driver's name. But the guy never noticed him. He just sped off like fucking Lightning McQueen. He got the fuck out of there. So Augie then wandered around a bit until he found a cop who then gave him a ride back to his hotel. Imagine if he had like lost his wallet and hotel key. He would have been truly fucked if that was the case. And I guess this kind of like policeman gave him a ride back, and then he got on his PC and I think he messaged Nick at this time, which started the entire chain of events of tweeting out the picture of him like begging, like, someone help me. Honestly though, all memes aside, I'm glad we managed to figure it out. If I was in Augie's position, I probably would have emptied my bladder into my pants as well. You know, it would have been a very worrisome situation, so I'm glad that we got it figured out. Once again, Tom Dark, Mr. Tom, manages to save the day. Nothing out of the ordinary, just typical behavior for me, I guess. No real surprise there. If there's any lesson, like any meaning to be taken away from this, it would be wear skinny jeans so that your phone always stays glued to your side and will never fall out of your pocket. Basketball shorts just won't cut it living the fast lifestyle typically brought to you by Ubering from place to place. Stay prepared with Hot Topics denim blacks. And the great thing about them is that the entire time you're wearing them, they'll actually hurt your dick. Like it will physically hurt to wear them. Which is a good thing. The rest of the trip was really fun though. You know, even this story was a fun time for me, and I think the people involved, you know, now that it's over, we can kind of laugh about it. Not a big deal. I feel kind of bad for low-key shitting on Augie in this video. You know, talking about him and memeing him and turning him into a laughingstock for my YouTube channel. You know, it is kind of cruel, but damn. My last story time made 180 bucks. Someone lose their phone again. This is fun. Before I go, just want to thank you little freaks for the fan art you've been doing for the channel recently. This one is old and I forgot to mention it in the video. The artist emailed it to me and asked to be credited as Ray, so thank you so much, Ray. This looks really fucking sick. The level of detail on it is just insane. This art by Superflorb on Twitter is really cool. They did a great job. And finally, a thank you to Shiwu for this very atmospheric and dark artwork, which I found pretty cool personally. If you guys want to submit fan art, just tweet it at me or email it to tomdark@yahoo.com. That's about it for this video. If you liked it, be sure to leave a fat, juicy like. If you disliked it, then leave a dislike and call me cringe. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. You know, it's always good to see what you guys have to say about these weird little tales I tell, alright? These things that I pull from the recesses of my brain. Sometimes I read someone's story down there in the comments and it's like, you know, it's way more entertaining than mine. And I'm like, damn. Why do I even tell my own stories? Why don't I just steal this one and pretend that it's mine? Future business model. Anyway, I'll see you guys all later. Bye.